The blood moon hung heavy over the palace like a crimson eye watching my destruction. I knelt in the throne room, chains biting into my wrists, surrounded by guards who wouldn't meet my eyes. They knew what was about to happen. Everyone knew. Emperor Wei Yun descended from his throne, each step echoing like a death knell. He was everything an alpha should be: tall, powerful, radiating dominance that made every omega in the room instinctively lower their heads. Everyone except me. I glared up at him, my last act of defiance. "I'll never submit to you." His dark eyes held no mercy. "You don't have a choice, Jin Lian." He grabbed my chin, forcing my head to the side, exposing my neck. I tried to fight, but the guards held me down. His teeth sank into my scent gland and I screamed, not from pain but from the violation of it. The mark burned like fire spreading through my veins, branding me as his. When he pulled back, blood stained his lips. "You're mine now, forever." The mark pulsed with golden light and I felt our bond snap into place, a chain I could never break. I collapsed, trembling with rage and humiliation. The blood moon watched, the empire watched, and I swore revenge against the alpha who'd stolen my freedom. I woke in silk sheets that felt like prison bars. The mark on my neck throbbed with each heartbeat, a constant reminder of what had been done to me. When I tried to leave the bed, invisible force pulled me back. The bond wouldn't let me stray far from the emperor. "No," I whispered, testing the limits. 10 steps from the bed before the mark burned, 15 before my knees buckled, 20 before I collapsed, gasping. A servant entered, eyes downcast. "His Majesty requests your presence at court." "Tell His Majesty he can rot." She paled. "Please, my lord," he commanded. "I'm not my lord, I'm a prisoner." But the mark flared at my defiance, sending sharp pain through my chest. I gritted my teeth. "Fine, take me to him." The court was already assembled when I arrived. Nobles and officials lined the hall, all turning to stare at the Omega Emperor Wei Yun had claimed. I felt their eyes on my marked neck, saw their judgment and pity. Wei Yun sat on the dragon throne, expression unreadable. "Jin Lian, come forward." Every step toward him made the mark pulse warmer, the bond pulling me like a rope around my throat. When I reached the base of the throne, he gestured. "Kneel." "I'd rather die." His eyes flashed, the mark burned, and my knees buckled against my will. I knelt, trembling with fury and shame. "You'll learn obedience," he said quietly, "one way or another." But in my heart I swore, "I'll kill you for this." The mark burned in response, as if it could hear my thoughts. Wei Yun's punishment was humiliation disguised as honor. He ordered me to attend court daily, dressed in fine silks that marked me as his consort. Every noble who bowed to him was forced to bow to me. Every official who sought his favor had to acknowledge me first. "I'm making you visible," he explained one morning, "so no one forgets whose Omega you are. I'm not yours, this mark is a brand, not a bond." The mark doesn't lie, Jin Lian, it pulses because we're connected, whether you accept it or not. I hated that he was right. I could feel him constantly, his location, his emotions, his very heartbeat, and worst of all, he could feel me too. During one particularly grueling court session, the mark suddenly flared hot. My scent spiked involuntarily, sweet and overwhelming, filling the throne room. Courtiers shifted uncomfortably. Alphas in the room tensed, their instincts responding to an omega in distress. Wei Yun was beside me in seconds, catching me as my knees gave out. "Clear the room," he commanded. They fled. He carried me to his private chambers, laying me on his bed. The mark pulsed in rhythm with my racing heart. "Breathe," he said softly, his presence somehow calming the chaos in my body. "Your heat is responding to stress, the mark amplifies it." I wanted to push him away, but my body betrayed me, relaxing at his touch. Our eyes met, and for a terrifying moment our pulses synced perfectly. The first heat under the mark was torture. It came 3 days later, sudden and overwhelming. I woke burning from the inside out, my body screaming for something I refused to name. The mark throbbed in time with my pulse, sending waves of need through every nerve. I bit down on silk pillows to keep from crying out, but the bond betrayed me. Within minutes, Wei Yun appeared at my door. "Go away," I gasped. "You're in pain, the bond won't let me ignore it." "I don't need your help, I don't need." My words dissolved into a whimper as another wave hit. He entered despite my protest, and his scent washed over me cedar and rain and something uniquely him. My omega instincts responded immediately, my body recognizing its alpha whether I wanted it to or not. "This is the mark's doing," I accused through gritted teeth. "You forced this on me." "No," he knelt beside the bed, not touching, just present. "The mark connects us, but heat is natural. Your body is simply confused. There's nothing confusing about hatting you." "Then why is your scent calling for me?" His voice was gentle, infuriatingly patient. "Why does the bond pull you toward me even as you push away?" I had no answer. The heat was clouding my mind, making everything fuzzy except his presence. He stayed through the worst of it, never taking advantage, just existing nearby until the fever broke. As dawn came, he stood to leave. "It's not the mark, Jin Lian, it's me, and someday you'll admit it." I threw a pillow at the door after he left. Under moonlight, I swore my revenge. I stood on the balcony outside my gilded prison, the mark glowing faintly on my neck, and whispered every curse I knew. "I'll find a way to break this bond. I'll destroy you for what you've done. I'll." A sound interrupted my vows. Quiet prayer coming from the Emperor's private garden. I shouldn't have investigated. I should have returned to my chambers and continued hatting him from a distance. But curiosity won. I found Wei Yun kneeling before a small shrine, hands clasped, face tilted toward the sky. His usual mask of imperial authority was gone, replaced by something raw and vulnerable. "Forgive me," he whispered. "I had no choice. To protect him, I had to bind him, but he'll never understand, he'll never forgive me." My breath caught. Protect me from what? I should have told him the truth, should have explained before the marking, but time ran out and now he hates me. His voice cracked. "Jin Lian, wherever your spirit wanders tonight, know that I never wanted to hurt you." He was praying for me, to me, asking forgiveness from the very person he'd claimed. I stepped back silently, my heart thundering. The revenge I'd sworn suddenly felt less certain. The mark pulsed warm against my neck and I touched it unconsciously. What truth? What was he protecting me from? And why did hearing my name on his lips make the bond hum with something other than hatred? Wei Yun forced me to accompany him everywhere. Council meetings, military briefings, even his private study sessions. "You need to understand how the Empire works," he explained. "I understand perfectly. You're a tyrant who takes what he wants. If that were true, you'd be in my bed, not arguing with me in my office." Heat flooded my face. The mark pulsed at the thought and I hated my body's reaction. But proximity bred opportunity. I began studying the palace, noting guard rotations, secret passages, and most importantly, poisons. The imperial physician kept a locked cabinet in the medical wing. I stole the key. One evening, I prepared tea in Wei Yun's study, adding a few drops of a poison that would mimic natural illness. Slow acting, untraceable. Tea, I offered sweetly. He took the cup without hesitation, drinking deeply. I watched, waiting for symptoms, but nothing happened. He finished the tea and continued working, completely unaffected. The mark suddenly flared hot on my neck. I gasped, touching it. "Interesting," Wei Yun said, setting down his empty cup. "The mark flares when one of us intends harm to the other. It's a bond test. Did you put something in my tea, Jin Lian?" My blood ran cold. "I don't know what you're talking about." "The mark doesn't lie," he stood, approaching slowly. "It protects us both. Any attempt to harm me will hurt you equally, just as any harm to you would destroy me. Then we're both prisoners." "No, we're both protected." He touched the mark on my neck gently, "whether you believe it or not." The emperor fell ill 3 days later, not from poison but from some foreign sickness brought by visiting diplomats. The bond burned in my chest the moment his fever spiked, dropping me to my knees in the middle of court. "The emperor is unwell," a guard announced. "The omega can feel it through the mark." They carried me to Wei Yun's chambers where he lay in bed, skin flushed, breathing labored. The moment I entered, our pulses synced. I could feel his fever as if it were my own, could sense his pain radiating through the bond. "Leave us," I commanded the servants. They hesitated until I snarled, "Now." Alone with him, I pressed a cool cloth to his forehead. His eyes opened, unfocused. "Jin Lian. Save your strength." You came, he sounded surprised. The bond forced me, don't read into it. But as I cared for him through the night, wiping sweat from his brow, coaxing medicine between his lips, I felt our connection deepen. Every breath he took, I felt, every spike of pain echoed through me. In his fevered delirium, he spoke. You were meant to be safe, the curse was coming for you, I had no choice but to mark you first, protected, had to keep you protected. What curse? I whispered. They wanted your bloodline ended, ancient magic. Only an alpha's mark could shield you. I'm sorry, so sorry, should have explained, but time, no time. His pulse stuttered, mine stuttered with it. I grabbed his hand, our marks glowing in unison. Don't you dare die, I said, not before I get answers. The assassin came during Wei Yun's recovery. A figure in black appeared at my window with a proposition wrapped in silk and promises. We can free you, they said, kill the emperor while he's weak, break the mark, return to your family. My family is dead, he killed them. Did he, or is that what you were told? The assassin placed a vial in my hands. This poison works on marked alphas, one drop in his medicine, he'll die peacefully, you'll be free. They vanished before I could respond. I stood alone with the vial, my ticket to revenge finally in hand. I went away Yun's chambers that night. He was sleeping, still weak, completely vulnerable. One drop, that's all it would take. I uncorked the vial. The mark on my neck suddenly burned so violently I cried out, dropping the poison. It shattered on the floor, toxic contents spreading. No, I tried to wipe it away, but the fumes made me dizzy. The mark flared again, not just burning but screaming through the bond. Wei Yun woke instantly. Jin Lian, what? He saw the poison, saw me swaying. The door burst open, the assassin returned, blade drawn, realizing I'd failed. They lunged for the weakened emperor. I moved without thinking, grabbed a ceremonial sword, met the assassin's blade with my own. We fought. I had no training, but desperation and the bond's protective instinct guided me. When the assassin fell dead by my trembling hand, I collapsed beside them. Why? Wei Yun asked quietly, why save me? I don't know, I sobbed, I don't know. The next morning, Wei Yun summoned me to his private chambers. He held a small jade box, his expression unreadable. This belonged to the late empress, he said, opening it. Inside lay an exquisite hairpin, gold and pearl, worth a fortune. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to have it as a gift, as thanks for saving my life. The rage that had dulled slightly after last night's confusion came roaring back. A gift? You think a pretty hairpin makes up for stealing my freedom? No, but it's a start. I snatched the box and hurled it against the wall. The hairpin shattered, pearls scattering across marble floors. I don't want your gifts, I don't want your gratitude, I want my life back. Wei Yun remained calm, infuriatingly calm. You can break gifts, Jin Lian, you can break objects, smash treasures, destroy everything I offer you, but you cannot break what binds us. He gestured to his neck where a matching mark glowed faintly. The bond is eternal, the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll find peace. I'll never accept it, I'll never stop fighting you. I know, he picked up a pearl from the floor, but I'll keep trying anyway because unlike you, I've already accepted the truth of what we are. And what's that? Fated, the word hung between us, whether we like it or not. The mark pulsed visibly, golden light spreading across both our necks. I touched mine, feeling warmth that wasn't entirely unwelcome. I left without another word, but that night I dreamed of golden chains that felt less like prison and more like protection. The royal festival arrived, 3 days of celebration where nobles performed ancient dances and rituals. Wei Yun insisted I participate. I don't dance. You will tonight, to honor your family's sacred tradition. My breath caught. How do you know about that? I know everything about you, Jin Lian, including that your family held the honor of performing the dance of fallen petals for generations, until they were killed. By you. No, by those who feared what your bloodline represented. His eyes held mine. Dance tonight, reclaim what was stolen. So I danced. In robes of flowing silk, I performed the ancient movements my mother had taught me as a child. The entire court watched as I moved through the sacred forms, each gesture a prayer, each step a remembrance. The mark on my neck began to glow, visible to everyone. Courtiers gasped. The bond pulsed in rhythm with my movements, golden light spreading across my skin like living art. When I finished, silence, then Wei Yun stood applauding. The court followed his lead. The Jin bloodline lives, he announced, and it will be honored in this empire. That night I heard whispers, fate and forbidden bond. The mark reveals the god's will. The emperor and his omega are truly matched. I touched the mark, feeling it pulse warm and steady. For the first time I wondered if maybe, just maybe, there was more to this bond than force and cruelty. The rival concubine struck when I was most vulnerable. Lady Mei, a beautiful beta who'd been vying for Wei Yun's attention long before I arrived, poisoned my tea during a private gathering. I felt it immediately burning in my throat, spreading through my veins, different from the mark's heat, deadly. Guards I managed before collapsing. They found Lady Mei fleeing with the poison vial still in her possession. They dragged her before Wei Yun while physicians worked desperately to save me. I drifted in and out of consciousness, but I heard everything through the bond, felt Wei Yun's rage like a physical force. You dared harm what is mine. Your Majesty, please, I only wanted. Execution immediately. No, Your Majesty, mercy, I only. There is no mercy for those who threaten my omega. His voice was ice. Take her away. I woke days later, weak but alive. Wei Yun sat beside my bed, face haggard, eyes red from lack of sleep. You executed her, I whispered. Without hesitation. Why, you barely know me, you forced this mark on me. Why do you care if I live or die? He took my hand, thumb brushing across my knuckles, because I failed once before. What does that mean? It means, he paused, seeming to choose words carefully, it means I won't fail again, never again. The cryptic answer frustrated me, but the bond hummed with his sincerity. He genuinely feared losing me, and somewhere deep down I'd felt his terror as my own. In Wei Yun's private garden, away from court and politics, we found unexpected peace. He painted landscapes while I read ancient poetry. We didn't speak much, but the silence felt comfortable rather than hostile. You're talented, I observed, watching him capture mountain peaks in delicate brushstrokes. My mother taught me before she died. I didn't know you had a mother. He smiled slightly. Even emperors are born, Jin Lian, we're not forged in dragon fire despite the legends. I laughed before I could stop myself. The sound startled us both. When was the last time I'd laughed genuinely? Wei Yun set down his brush, turning to face me fully. Our pulses synchronized. I felt it through the bond, our hearts beating in perfect rhythm. There, he said softly, that's the real you, not the angry, wounded omega, not the one swearing revenge, just you. You don't know me. I'm learning. He reached toward my face, fingers hovering near my cheek. Every day I learn more. I should have pulled away, should have maintained distance. Instead, I found myself leaning into his almost touch, my body betraying my mind once again. As his hand finally cupped my cheek, I noticed something, a scar on his wrist shaped like an ancient sigil. I grabbed his arm, examining it. What is this? He pulled back quickly, nothing important. It's a protection sigil, my family used similar ones. Jin Lian. Why do you have my family's mark on your wrist? My voice rose, answer me. But he stood, closing himself off again. Some answers aren't ready to be heard. The rebel network had been watching me, waiting. They approached again with new evidence, documents proving Wei Yun had ordered the attack on my family. His signature, his seal, irrefutable proof. He killed everyone you loved, they said, and then he marked you to cover his guilt, to keep you from seeking justice. I stared at the documents, my hands shaking. Everything made sense now, the forced marking, the cryptic mentions of protection. He'd been protecting himself, not me. We can help you, they offered. We have an artifact that can break the bond, then you'll be free to take your revenge. I took the artifact, a blade inscribed with ancient runes. That night I hid it in my chambers, planning my final move. Wei Yun came to me before bed as he'd taken to doing, checking on me through the bond. You're troubled, he observed. I feel it. I'm fine. Jin Lian. Your father begged me to protect you. The words tumbled out before he could say more. That's what he said before he died, not a curse, not a threat. He begged me, why would he do that if you were his enemy? The world tilted. What? Your father came to the palace in secret, told me about the assassination plot against your family, against you specifically. He knew he would die, but he begged me to save you, to mark you before the cursed blade could take effect. You're lying. The bond doesn't allow lies, you can feel my sincerity. And I could, through the mark I felt only truth, no deception, no guilt, just desperate, painful truth. The documents. Forged by the same people who killed your family and want to kill me, they need us divided. He stepped closer. I'm not your enemy, Jin Lian, I never was. I didn't believe him, couldn't believe him. So that night I went to his chambers with the ruined blade, found him sleeping, vulnerable, trusting. I pressed the blade to his throat. He woke instantly but didn't move. Do it then. Don't you dare act noble, don't you dare. I mean it, if killing me brings you peace, do it. The mark dies with me, you'll be free. Stop, tears burned my eyes. Stop being understanding, stop being gentle, I need to hate you. Why? Because if I don't hate you, then everything I've felt through this bond is real. All the warmth, all the safety, all the… I broke off, unable to finish. All the love, he finished quietly. I don't love you. The mark says otherwise? He sat up slowly, blade still at his throat. I can feel what you feel, Jin Lian, every emotion, every thought. You're terrified because you're falling for me despite everything, and that scares you more than any revenge. I hate you. Then prove it, kill me. I tried, pushed the blade harder against his skin, felt the bond screaming in protest, felt my own heart breaking at the thought of his death. The blade clattered to the floor. I kissed him instead, desperate, angry, confused, needing to feel something other than this terrible chaos in my heart. He responded immediately, pulling me close, the bond flaring between us like wildfire. Heat consumed me, not from fever but from desire I could no longer deny. We fell together, all pretense stripped away, and for one night, I stopped fighting what the mark had known all along. Dawn came too soon. I woke tangled in silk sheets and Wei Yun's arms, his breath warm against my neck. The mark pulsed contentedly, satisfied in a way it had never been before. Shame flooded me. I'd betrayed myself, my family, everything I'd sworn to uphold. I tried to slip away, but his arms tightened. Don't, he murmured, still half asleep. Stay. Last night was a mistake. Was it? He opened his eyes, studying my face. Because the bond is finally settled. For the first time since I marked you, it's at peace. I don't care what the bond feels. Liar, but he said it gently, without accusation. A knock interrupted us. Your Majesty, urgent court matter. Wei Yun sighed, releasing me. Duty calls. We dressed in silence, the air thick with everything unsaid. As we prepared to face the court, I caught sight of us in the mirror, marks glowing faintly in unison, our reflections intertwined. The court was already assembled when we arrived. The moment we entered together, whispers erupted. Our scent, mingled and obvious, told everyone exactly what had occurred. The high priest stood, face stern. Your Majesty, the bond between you and this Omega, the council has reviewed ancient texts, we believe. Believe what? Wei Yun's voice was dangerous. That this mark is heresy, an abomination. The Omega should be separated from you and… The mark on my neck suddenly cracked, just slightly, but I felt it, sharp pain lancing through me as golden light bled from the fracture. I collapsed. Wei Yun caught me before I hit the ground, roaring at the priests. What did you do? We did nothing. The mark itself is rejecting its unnatural state. The gods disapprove. But through the bond I felt Wei Yun's terror. This wasn't divine rejection, this was something far worse. The priests declared the bond heretical, demanding I be taken to the temple for purification, a process that would break the mark completely. Over my dead body, Wei Yun snarled. Your Majesty, the gods have spoken through the mark's fracture. This bond was never meant to be. The bond is fate's choice and I accept it. He pulled me closer despite my weakening state. Jin Lian is my Omega, my mate. If your gods disapprove, then your gods can answer to me. Blasphemy. Call it what you want, he stays with me. The mark cracked further, spreading like broken glass across my neck. Each fracture sent agony through me, but worse was feeling Wei Yun's pain echoing through our bond. He was suffering with me, unable to help. Your Majesty, an old advisor said carefully, there may be another way, the cold palace. If the Omega goes into isolation away from court influence, the mark might stabilize. Isolation, Wei Yun's voice was hollow. Temporary separation, to appease the council while we find a solution. I saw Wei Yun struggle, torn between protecting me and protecting my reputation. Finally, he nodded, the cold palace, but only temporarily. They took me away that night. I wanted to protest, to beg him not to send me away, but the mark burned too badly to speak. As they carried me to the distant, abandoned wing, I felt Wei Yun's anguish through our bond. He thought he was protecting me, I thought he was abandoning me. The truth was somewhere in between, and by the time I realized it, it would be too late. The cold palace was exactly what its name promised, isolated, freezing, forgotten. Servants brought food but wouldn't meet my eyes. Guards stood outside but never entered. I was alone with my fractured mark and fading bond. Days passed, the mark continued to crack, bleeding golden light that stained my clothes. I could barely feel Wei Yun anymore, just echoes of his presence growing fainter. On the fifth night my heat arrived, violent and sudden, amplified by the breaking bond. My body called for its alpha, screaming through every nerve, but he wasn't there. I crawled to the door, pounding weakly. Please, I need him. No one came, the bond stretched between us like a fraying rope. I felt Wei Yun respond through it, felt his desperate attempt to reach me, but physical distance kept us apart. I collapsed, fever burning through me, the mark on my neck pulsing erratically. Through the pain, I felt Wei Yun fighting to get to me, felt him battling the guards, the priests, the entire court. Jin Lian, his voice was distant but clear through the bond. Hold on, I'm coming. But as consciousness faded, I whispered the truth I'd been denying. I need you, I've always needed you. The mark flared one last time, and everything went dark. I woke to gentle hands and a soft voice, not Wei Yun, a dying priest who defied the council to reach me. Child, he rasped, I must tell you the truth before I pass. What truth? The mark wasn't enslavement, it was salvation. He touched my fractured mark gently. Your family was cursed, ancient blood magic meant to end your entire line. The emperor learned of it too late to save your parents, but he could save you. My breath caught. An alpha's mark is the only thing that can counter a death curse. By marking you, he absorbed half the curse into himself. It's slowly killing him, but it kept you alive. Everything he's done, the forced bond, the harsh treatment, keeping you close, it was all to protect you while he searched for a cure. He never told me. He thought you'd refuse the mark if you knew, thought you'd rather die than be bound to him. The priest coughed, blood staining his lips. But the mark is breaking now, without it the curse will complete its work, you'll die and so will he, having failed to save you. How do I stop it? True acceptance, you must accept the bond completely, not just physically but emotionally, only then will the mark heal and the curse be permanently broken. He gripped my hand weakly. Do you love him? Do you love him enough to save him as he saved you? The priest died before I could answer, but his words burned into me. Everything I'd believed was wrong. Wei Yun wasn't my captor, he was my savior, and I'd spent months hatting him for it. I fled the cold palace that night, too weak to walk properly but desperate to reach him. The mark guided me, its fractures glowing faintly, pointing toward Wei Yun like a broken compass. I found his war camp at the border where he'd gone to handle a dispute. The moment I stumbled into view, guards surrounded me. The Omega from the cold palace, how did? Wei Yun, I gasped, where is he? They took me to his tent. He looked terrible, gaunt, exhausted, the mark on his neck almost completely shattered. When he saw me, relief and terror warred on his face. Jin Lian, you shouldn't be here, the mark. I collapsed at his feet. The bond between us flared uncontrollably, trying desperately to reconnect despite the fractures. Our pulses synchronized, then stuttered, fighting to find rhythm. I know, I whispered, the priest told me. About the curse, about why you marked me. His eyes widened, Jin Lian. You were protecting me, you've always been protecting me, tears streamed down my face, and I hated you for it. You had every right to hate me, I took your choice, your freedom. You saved my life, I grabbed his hand, pressing it to my fractured mark, now let me save yours. The mark pulsed once, twice, then it shattered completely, both his and mine dissolving in golden light that blinded everyone in the tent. When the light faded, we both collapsed, the bond temporarily severed, but I could still feel him, fainter than before but present. The curse was fighting to complete itself. No, I sobbed, holding him, you're not allowed to die, not after everything. His hand found mine weakly, at least I kept you alive. We're both living together or neither of us survives. I kissed him desperately, choose life, Wei Yun, choose us. The mark's dissolution revealed the truth, half of Wei Yun's soul had been spent protecting me from the curse. For months, he'd been slowly dying while I plotted his death. There has to be a way, I told the camp physician, some way to restore the mark to fix this. The mark was ancient magic, my lord, it cannot simply be remade. Then what can we do? The physician hesitated. There are legends, the forbidden temple in the northern mountains, they say the gods stored powerful relics there, but it's been sealed for centuries. Where is it? No one knows, the temple was hidden after the last holy war, to find it would require. I was already moving, Wei Yun lay unconscious, his life force fading with each hour, time was running out. I found the maps in his personal effects. He'd been researching something obsessively, pages of notes, sketches, references to ancient temples. He'd been looking for a cure all along. Following his research, I assembled a small team. We rode north through snow and ice, following clues he'd left behind. 5 days later, we found it, a temple carved into the mountainside, entrance sealed with divine wards. These wards are meant to keep people out, one guard said. Then we break them. I approached the entrance, pressing my hand to the cold stone. The fractured mark on my neck glowed faintly, responding to the divine magic. The wards shimmered, then shattered, the temple doors groaned open. Inside, everything was gold and shadows, and at the center, a mirror tall as 2 men, its surface rippling like water. The mirror of souls, I whispered. Wei Yun's notes had mentioned it, a divine artifact that could restore what was lost. But everything had a price. Wei Yun's condition deteriorated rapidly. I returned to camp to find him barely breathing, his life force almost extinguished. The curse was completing its work. Stay with me, I begged, holding his cold hand. I found it, I found the mirror, there's still hope. His eyes opened briefly. Jin Lian, no, too dangerous. I don't care about danger, I care about you. The mirror demands equal exchange. His words were barely audible. Soul for soul, life for life. Then I'll give mine. No, he gripped my hand with surprising strength. Not you, never you. You don't get to decide this time, I kissed his forehead. You've spent months protecting me, now it's my turn. I left him with the physician and returned to the temple alone. The mirror of souls waited, its surface swirling with ancient power. As I approached, a voice echoed through the chamber, neither male nor female, old nor young. You seek to restore a broken bond. Yes. The mark was shattered, the alpha dies, what will you sacrifice to save him? I stepped closer, meeting my own reflection, anything, everything. Love requires sacrifice, the mirror demands balance. An alpha gave half his soul to protect an omega, to restore him fully an equal offering must be made. Take my life then, give him mine. The mirror rippled, you would die for him, after he marked you against your will, after he stole your freedom. He gave me life, whatever freedom I lost, I gained something more valuable, I gained love. Then make your choice, Jin Lian of the fallen house, your life for his, your soul for his completion. Once given, it cannot be undone. I pressed my palm to the mirror's surface. I choose him, I choose us, take what you need. The mirror flared with blinding light. I felt something pull from deep within me, not painful but profound. The fractured mark on my neck glowed, then dissolved completely into golden mist that flowed into the mirror. It is done, the exchange is complete, he will live. My knees buckled, the world tilted and darkened. My last thought before consciousness faded was relief Wei Yun would survive. I woke alone. The temple was silent, my neck bore no mark, not even a scar where it had been, the bond was completely gone, I couldn't feel Wei Yun at all. Panic surged, had the mirror lied, had I sacrificed everything for nothing? I stumbled out of the temple into daylight. The camp was gone, days must have passed while I was unconscious. I made my way back to the capital on foot, each step feeling heavier than the last. The palace was in mourning. Black banners hung from every wall, officials wore white robes of grief, my heart stopped. What happened? I grabbed a passing servant. The emperor, my lord, he was dying from a mysterious illness, but 3 days ago he suddenly recovered, completely healed as if by divine intervention. The servant's eyes filled with tears. But the Omega consort, Lord Jin Lian, he vanished. Some say he died saving his majesty, others say he simply disappeared. Where is the emperor now? The throne room, he's been there for days, refusing to eat or sleep, just waiting. I ran. Through corridors I'd walked 100 times, past guards who didn't recognize me without the mark until I burst into the throne room. Wei Yun sat on the dragon throne, but he looked like a ghost. His eyes were hollow, face gaunt, he stared at nothing. Wei Yun, I called. He didn't react, didn't even look up. Your Majesty, please, an advisor was saying. You must eat, you must rest, Lord Jin Lian wouldn't want. Don't say his name, Wei Yun's voice was dead, I don't deserve to hear it. I walked forward slowly, Wei Yun, I'm here. Still nothing, the advisors looked around, confused. Then I understood the mirror's price, it had taken more than just the mark, it had taken my physical presence from his awareness. He couldn't see me, couldn't hear me, to him I was truly gone. I spent days trying to reach him, spoke to him constantly even though he couldn't hear, touched his hand even though he couldn't feel, watched him slowly waste away from grief. He saved me, Wei Yun told his advisors one evening, gave everything to break the curse, and I never told him, never said what he meant to me. Your Majesty, Lord Jin Lian knew, the bond showed him your heart. The bond is gone, he's gone, and I'm left with this throne I never wanted and a life that feels empty without him. I knelt beside his chair, I'm right here, please, please see me. But he stared through me, lost in grief. The throne room held one strange addition, a golden mark carved into the wall behind the throne. It pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. When I touched it, warmth spread through my hand. He ordered that carved, a servant whispered to another. Said it was to remember the bond, some say it still carries a trace of the Omega's presence. I pressed both hands to the carved mark. It pulsed stronger and suddenly I felt something faint but familiar, Wei Yun's heartbeat. The bond hadn't been completely severed, just transformed. An idea formed. If the mirror had taken my physical presence, perhaps I could return it the same way the mark had been formed originally, through sacrifice, through choice. But this time the sacrifice had to be willing on both sides. Years passed. I remained in the palace as a ghost, watching Wei Yun rule with quiet competence but no joy. He never remarried, never took another consort, just existed, performing his duties with mechanical precision. I stayed close, speaking to him even though he couldn't hear, hoping something would change. The carved mark continued to pulse, keeping some thread of our connection alive. Then one spring morning, a traveler arrived at the palace gates. Dusty from the road, wearing simple robes and a wide-brimmed hat, but on his finger, a ring. Wei Yun's ring, the one he'd given me during our brief moment of happiness. The guards tried to turn him away, but Wei Yun appeared on the palace steps, having felt something. He stared at the traveler, eyes widening. You, he whispered. The traveler removed his hat, my face, my body, but solid, real, present. I told you the mark would never truly fade, I said, my voice finally reaching him. He stumbled down the steps. Jin Lian, how you're dead, you've been dead for 3 years. The mirror took my presence from your perception, made me invisible to you, but the carved mark kept our connection alive, and today the 3 years of separation ended. The mirror's price has been paid. I don't understand. The mirror demanded equal sacrifice. You gave half your soul to save me from the curse. I gave 3 years of my life in separation to save you from its completion. Now we're balanced. Now we're free. Wei Yun crossed the distance between us, hands trembling as they cupped my face. You're real, you're really here. I've always been here, waiting for you to see me again. He pulled me into his arms, holding so tightly I could barely breathe. Through our renewed connection, not the forced mark of before, but something gentler, chosen, I felt his love, his grief, his overwhelming relief. I thought I'd lost you forever, he sobbed into my shoulder. You could never lose me, not truly. I held him just as tightly. We're bound by something stronger than any mark now, we're bound by choice. We didn't return to the palace immediately. Instead, Wei Yun took my hand and led me to a small garden he'd planted, filled with plum blossoms, my favorite flower. I made this for you, he said quietly. During the years you were gone, I needed somewhere to feel close to you. We sat beneath the blooming trees, petals drifting around us like snow. No throne, no court, no empire, just two people who'd fought fate and each other to find this moment. Wei Yun traced his finger along my neck where the mark used to be. Does it hurt, the absence of it? No, because I can still feel you. I took his hand, pressing it over my heart, not through forced magic but through choice, through love. I'm sorry, he said, for marking you against your will, for taking your freedom, for everything you suffered because of me. I'm sorry too for hatting you when you were trying to save me, for fighting what we could have had sooner. No more apologies, he leaned his forehead against mine. Only this, only us, no gods dictating our fate, no marks forcing our bond, just Jin Lian and Wei Yun choosing each other every day. A warm pulse spread between us, not the old mark but something new, something we'd built together through sacrifice and survival and stubborn love. On my wrist, a faint golden line appeared, delicate as thread. On his, a matching one. What? A new mark, I whispered, but this one is ours, made by choice not force, by love not duty. Wei Yun smiled, truly smiled for the first time in years. Then I choose you, Jin Lian, today and every day after. And I choose you. We kissed beneath falling petals as the new marks glowed softly on our wrists, not chains but promises, not prisons but proof that sometimes the greatest love comes from the freedom to choose it. The empire would continue, the throne would remain, but here in this garden of plum blossoms we were simply ourselves, no titles, no expectations, no marks forced by desperate necessity. Just two souls who'd found each other through darkness and chose to stay together in the light. The golden marks pulsed in time with our synchronized heartbeats, eternal, chosen, and finally, blessedly free.